What's up, everybody? I got a new video for you guys for my Honda Fit build, and it's definitely a requirement to use for a track to use. It helps with understeer and definitely give you some oversteer play going on, and help to stiff the rear end a bit without flexing. So let me show you what I have. Alright, what I have is a rear antique sway bar for this from a Progress Tech. So just to let you guys see that I actually did a measurement kit. You can go online, type in sway bar calculator, and you have to put the parameters, and they'll say what is this thickness, if it's hollow or anything. It's going to be a 0 or 1, one of those two. That means there's no inner hollowness. So this is a solid steel material, basically, that's powder coated. So it's a 22 millimeter sway bar. So I did a calculation, and it shows it's roughly about 150 to 180 pounds per inch by torsion twistness. And this, without the springs on, I did a little reflection on a quick video for the guys on groups to just give you an idea of how much pressure by one finger or one hand pushes down where the spindle is naturally. And without the springs and struts or anything, I can move it more than 5 inches of play. With this side locked up so it doesn't move at all. So it kind of shows you how much torsion flexions it has naturally with only using arm strength. And I barely use it. I'm gonna guess I probably put down maybe 50 to 60 pounds of pressure. So it's not very heavy duty. And the springs only can do so much without flexion back and forth. It's trying to force each other on the track naturally, and if you don't have it, so it will also add too much load on one corner. So this sway bar helps it a lot. So every time you hit a corner, the one side will stay planted, the other sides will start loading. So it helps all the load on one side to the other. So it keeps the rear wheels planted and hit the corner as hard as you can, and you might want to have to get a little bit of oversteer like you're about to drift and stuff like that. So I'm going to show you what else I have for it to give you an idea and what it comes with the kit. Sorry, hit my head on it. Oh, anyways, these are little hex bolts right here. You can see these are a 6 millimeter hex bolt. So I got this for this. So to help give me some play without using, you can use like an Allen key and all that stuff. Just make sure, I'd rather have something like this so I can just actually just work up and go. So, and the nut comes with a nylon inner spot so it doesn't back off or anything. If you feel it's not going to do a lot of job, just put some blue Loctite on. Blue, not red. You can even put the orange. Orange, it says is really good for really like a red type of Loctite, but it's also movable. So just give you an idea, and if you ever try to get them apart, make sure you get a torque wrench, because you know that Loctite is very hard to get off naturally without breaking a bolt head or anything like that, so, or destroying something. So this requires a 17 millimeter socket or socket or wrench to put on and off for the bottom of these spring towers on the bottom, or holders, you call it. And I got some fancy stickers put on the car though too, to show out what I actually have on this car too. So I'm going to just show you how I'm going to do it, because I have this basically assembled. Now I have to take it apart again. Just basically the springs and loosen the shocks, the struts. Actually, shocks is in the rear and struts in the front. Just FYI, you guys didn't know. So let's get started. Alright guys, I just want to show you what it requires to get the sway bar on. First, you have to unloosen the rear shock bottom bolt. Then you have to, if you have coilovers, loosen these collar rings right now all the way loosen you can. Just one thing before you loosen it, to count the threading on where it's right here. Count the threading where it sits onto the body, how many threads are left when it's tightened down with the spring. Just to give you a reference where to reset your coilovers at if you don't know about coilovers yet. So for mine, I counted 24 threads before it locks completely. So now I have both sides loosening right now because I want to just get a quick display of how a demonstration of myself, how to proper loosen it up for you guys. Right now it's basically loose completely. It's just dangling. Now I can just take this piece off right here and put off the side for right now. All right, the sway bar. I have these, my brake lines kind of tied up right now to get them out of the way. I'm going to make a bracket for this so it doesn't flop or anything or get stuck underneath the spring housing. So what you need to do is put this over the fuel lines system, units, whatever it's called, and over. Right now we're just going to hold it in position right now so I can get the bolts and everything for it. First I'm just going to get one right now and just show you a reference how to install these. Alright, I'll give you a demonstration. There's going to be these little holes underneath right here where the bolt goes downward and sits right like that for right now. So you can know what where to actually mount these position. And so far it looks like I had it in the right hole, so I'm just going to put the washer and the nylon nut in place. Not tighten it, just in place so I can get the other side though too with it. So I'll show you a reference really quick. Do on this side and show you from the distance. Get it mounted. There's going to be a little rubber pad here to move, so on the coilovers it never came off. So mount it. And there's one. There's a washer. I recommend, you'll notice like the machine side and a kind of like a smoothed rounded side. There's going to be a rough and a smooth side. The smooth side goes against the nut, and the machine side goes against the body of the mount points for the sway bars to give you a better a seated position, what you call it. So I got it in place. Now I need to do all the rest. Now it's, I got it all in position. Now I just need to start tightening down little by little so it doesn't like get all tweaked up. So I got my 6mm hex socket tool and a 7mm wrench. So I'm going to use it. The 17mm goes on the bottom and the hex key goes on top. same thing, I'm going to do the fronts a little bit, get it started. Alright, now I get everything all tightened up for all the bolts and everything. So now I need to install the springs and yeah, the springs and I can't remember what these called, but yeah, I need to install the springs and everything. And don't forget these go on top. Don't go on the bottom just because you need to adjust them. So I'm going to show you. And make sure you get this little rubber thing on the very bottom so it seats in. I'm just going to leave that off the side because I need to install the other side now. I just want to show you before I install these. These are AK springs on my rear spring setup. But I do have other springs for this, just in case if I need a little bit more oversteer on the corners. These are 10K, so definitely a lot stiffer by 564 pounds per inch, or 10K as a reference. And these are 8K, and these are 448 pounds per inch per corner, and that's by an inch. How much it needs to be compressed. So I'm gonna start with 8K just to get myself used to it. Then sooner or later I'll jump up to 10K and get more feel for it and drive like, to me, these type of cars with a rear sway bar, stiffer rear springs, drive like you're like a very fast shark that likes a corner. So I call these street sharks. He-Man. I just want to know if you need to have a second guy to help you, do so, because it's definitely tight, especially you're adding pressure against the shocks for compression. And if you don't have these loosened, you're going to have a big fight against it. So a second hand might help, but I'm used to doing stuff by myself, so you got to do what you got to do, I guess. I got butterfingers today. Now it's time to tighten these down. So I got my wrench. Yours is going to be a lot different than mine. I have aftermarket bolts and nuts for these, so they're different size. For me, it's a 15 millimeters. Now it's all tightened down. Now I can set my spring housing in place with the called spring adjuster height adjusters. So now I have to set it to 24 threading. So I'm not going to show you how to do that. Just know the reference to count each thread by 1, just to give you a reference where to set it in the way you need. Now I have it set to 20 now because it's actually getting stiffer now to actually move now. Just because the sway bar is causing not to twist at all. Before then, it was actually, I can leverage it a lot more than I can do now. So you can know that this sway bar is actually really doing something right now just by, because the torsion beam is not flexing very much anymore because the sway bar. That's a good sign. So it helps with the cornering now, just as a reference. So now I'm going to do is tighten down the ring locks so it doesn't back off or anything, and make sure it doesn't move in place. Set a preset. So it doesn't move in place, so it doesn't flop around, come out of place or anything. So it gives you also the proper ride height though too.